Hey FLOSSTUBE, it's Leigh from Creatively on Sunday, the 27th of April 2025 with FLOSSTUBE number 265. Welcome back to my weekly YouTube channel about counted cross stitch. I'm a bit warm. I had a visit with my GP on Wednesday to just, get my blood pressure checked and all that shit. And it was like kind of normal it's been a little bit high for a little while, but it was like 120 over 78 or something. Do they do partner? It wasn't 80, it was 70 something, which is like, it's never been, that bottom number has never been under 80s. That was amazing. I don't know how. But anyway, yeah, yay me. But I got talked to you about my hot flushes coming back. So, or ramping up again. So we've just adjusted that. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, things will start easing down with the bloody sweats. So yay for perimenopause. Anyway, what else happened this last week? It was a short week. Yeah, 3 days, official 3 work days due to Easter Monday and then Friday being Anzac Day. I have had a little bit of work each day, just to checking in on the developers and testing still going on with these bloody workflows, and a whole feature got basically sent back last night, so the tester failed at all, which is not great. But anyway, got to check in at 1 p.m. It's currently, I've got the wrong glasses on to look over there. Currently about 9:45 on Sunday morning. I'm pottering around, getting stuff done. Half slowly organising my pantry. Got some laundry on. It's been raining. So yay for having a new wash machine and dryer. So I'll be making use of the dryer later this morning. And what else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think, other than I twisted weirdly on Wednesday morning when I had the electrician here to deal with the weird looked like burnt out plug in my garage, which was a bit scary when I pulled the old dryer out, and the plug was the socket was a bit melty and burny, and I'm like, when did that happen? So I had him around, and then he's halfway through putting in another PowerPoint for me above where my freezer is, so I don't have to run an extension cord. And I was moving some stuff out of the way so he could get to the wall, and I twisted funny, and I feel like I've done something above my femur, my lower, I don't know where my freaking hip starts and my femur ends. And I was hobbling around and just happened to be at the doctor. So she did an ACC form for me because it was an accident, has been accepted by ACC. Then I rang around and managed to get a physio appointment on Monday. The earliest I could get, when I was just ringing around, was Monday, like tomorrow, and in Petone, which is really, really inconvenient for me because it's not anywhere close to, it's the middle between Upper Hutt and Wellington, and I have to leave half an hour early to get to the appointment, and it's just a pain in the ass, or a pain in the hip as it turns out. However, I am going to go and do that, so I'll probably miss a couple of meetings tomorrow. I managed to get a midday appointment, but I have to leave home at like 11:30, and then by the time the appointment's finished, and then I'll get back home, I'll miss the 1 o'clock appointment meeting. It's kind of a lot better. The doc did a couple of little, what's happening, got me to do some movements and show me where it hurt. And she said it could be just, I've torn a little muscle or something. It's definitely muscular. I felt something kind of, yeah, anyway, kind of go sharp and ow. But anyway. It wasn't much fun cleaning my shower this morning, having to crouch, crouch down and with the dodgy old lady hip. Oh my God. But anyway, it's a very exciting week. I have done a little bit of stitching, having kind of done mostly nothing on Friday, with it being a public holiday. I did do a quick trip out to Spotlight to grab some floss and pick up, what else did I do? I think I visited a friend yesterday for a little afternoon, couple of hours of stitching. Yeah, it's been quite quiet. I quite like quiet weekends. So yeah, that's pretty much as exciting as it gets. Oh, no, there was something exciting happen. On Monday, was it Monday? Monday night, the 22nd, whatever date the 22nd was, I became a great aunt. My sister, my grandmother, my sister is so happy. So she's always wanted, not always wanted, but you know, for the last however many years since her children have been old enough to provide her with a grandchild, she has been wanting a grandchild. So now she has a grandchild, and I think she and my brother-in-law, God, I've got so many family, they stayed, and Rona and Cameron came home on Tuesday. They had asked Megan and Matt to stay for a few days just to be there, and then I think her parents arrived on Thursday night. They were planning, already booked in to come, because basically baby came a few weeks early, but good size, good medium size baby, not as big as the hospital had been telling them, and she pretty much managed to pop him out after a good day of going through labour. And yeah, my sister is very happy. So yeah, anyway, I'm a great aunt. So I'm going over there in June. When am I going? June? I think I've booked a week like mid-ish June, just to go over, meet young baby, and I'll work from my sister's house. So I'll just do my New Zealand hours. So it'll be over there 7 till 3-ish. I just won't be doing all the overtime or the extra hours. I'll just be doing a 40-hour week. What a novelty. But just and my sister and everyone's working, so no one's like taking special time off other than Rona, obviously on maternity leave. But you know, evenings and the weekend and stuff, I can visit and meet the baby. I'm not at all really into babies, but I care about my family. So I'm very fond of my nieces and nephews. Like, I'm not in a hurry, but yeah, keen to meet him, and my sister just, yeah, she's absolutely in love, so absolutely besotted with her grandson. So yeah, should I talk about stitching, because that's actually why you're here? What have I purchased? Not a lot. I did buy some silk from Spotlight. This is Gutermann silk, and I've used it before, and it's very similar to 103, but I just wanted to get like 3 spools, which is plenty. But I just picked one of the reds. They have about 4 different reds, and I picked this one. I haven't used this one before. This is going to be for one of my hashtag stash sampler starts in August, September. I'm going to do that with Nerissa this year. I will have 8 or 9 starts, sampler starts from stash. It's in my stash now, over August, September. Mostly it's about pulling the charts out that you've got in your stash. So I think the premise behind this project, Sal, is kind of extending. I think Nerissa proposed it a couple of years ago, and it was to extend Sampler September and bring it forward and do all of her sampler starts through August and September. So I think she started 8. When I did it 2 years ago, I started 9, because I basically, whichever was I think Thursday or Wednesday, whatever day was the first day of August, I then started something each, let's say it was Wednesday, for each week through August and September, and there happened to be 9 of those days, and when you do maths, that's how it works when you start on the 1st. Similarly, there'll be 9 Fridays, I think, is the 1st of August, so there'll be 9 through August and September. So I probably will do 9. Anyway, one of them is going to be a Bristol, Louise Colin, I don't even know how to say her name, Cullimore. I've had the chart for ages, so I wanted to do some silk, and I just decided Spotlight had a sale, so I grabbed some Gutermann silk. This is plenty, I'm sure, because it's like, you know, lots of meters. How many meters is it? 100 meters, so 100 meters, 110 yards, so I've got 300 meters. It's probably going to be fine. But also I can grab another spool if I needed to, so I bought that. That's all I bought. 3 spools of silk, and that nearly rolled off the table. So stitching, I stitched on 4 projects. I may or may not have said that already, not sure how it's going to come out in the edit. They're in no particular order. I usually order them through, but I didn't. So anyway, I was able to start and finish the April stitch, which for me was part 7. So I start from the bottom, working up. This I am stitching on 40 count linen, that is white linen that I dyed myself using my paintbrushy method to give it sort of some different colours and different segments. And I'm using the Called For Mostly Gentle Arts. This again is a monthly piece, and I started this on the 13th of January. That was my first day of my new job, and I wrote down new job, new beginnings, and I'm going to sneeze. Yay for editing. Here is where we're at. So part 7, the pomegranates, the main reason why I was attracted to this in the first place, and that's where they're at. I don't know what I was going to say, but yeah, I love it. I love it. So very happy with that. I don't know what next month is. We'll find out. So next month will be part 8, well, as in, but it will be my obviously 5th month stitching. So that was a quick little stitch. And during the week, I've carried on with my 1 red thread stitching. I think I did miss, did I miss Wednesday, or did I squeeze? I might have missed one day last week because of work, and by the time I got home, I can't remember whether I did a thread or not. But working on this Under the Red Blues by Isabelle Vautier, and I am just shy of halfway now, because I am doing more than 1 thread a day. Again, averaging 6, I guess. So on 40 count Kauri linen from Country Stitch using Gentle Art Claret. This was a start back in 2023 and kind of sat there for a bit. I'm really, really enjoying having this out. So this 1 red thread a day, really it's just a case of I'm just plugging away on it. So time's a challenge to put it down. So yeah, definitely doing way more than 1 thread a day. Again, just under halfway. So that's where we're at for now. Since I started this project in April, so yeah, I only started doing this after my sister went home. I've stitched basically from there. I've stitched all of that in April. Actually a little bit more than that, because that bottom border. Basically, when I picked this up on the 2nd of April, I had that house scene in there with the yeah, that one that one there at the top. So that kind of lacy border, that one there, that's so from basically from, I think I had to these somewhere around here on these borders stitched, and then from all the way up, including that border there up, I've stitched all that. So it's quite a lot. I'm very happy. So got this little house set in the last couple of days, and that heart's actually in the next border, but it was only 2. You know, I'll drag my thread over 2, so I dragged that up just to finish that little heart. And next time I pick it up today, I haven't done today's stitching, I'll just get a bit of this border brought up again. It's a very repetitive border, so it's quite nice just to do a bit of border and then do a band. So happy with how that's going on. So, and the ladies, everyone who's participating with that, which is there's Judith, Narissa, Susie and Tanya. I think that's all of us and me. Everyone's made such good progress. We've had a couple of finishes. And not everyone's always stitching a red thread into a sampler. In some cases, like Susie's been picking up just red threads in a house that she needs to stitch a red house, so yay. And then this isn't necessarily in order because that bloody red thread project that's going through every day. I don't know where to put it in, but I did actually have a finish. In fact, I probably did this first before I picked up the garden clud, so maybe I stitched this on Sunday. I think I actually stitched this on Sunday. I actually think I finished this on Sunday. What date did I say? I finished it on the 20th. Whatever the date the 20th was. So, Remember Me by Teresa Kogut. I just went ham on this. 36 counts weathered linen from Number 12 Stitch Co. Love this linen. And using the call for DMC with a couple of extra DMCs. And there was one overdyed called for, and I just used the equivalent DMC because it was one of the greens. This was a hashtag stash sample start number 9, so the bonus week. And I started it, 24th of September 2023, finished it 20th of April. And couldn't be happier. Here she is. What did I do? So last week I had the house in, but I still had to fill in the roof and fill in the windows. And I had to stitch the flowers and the butterflies and the bird and the bees. Otherwise, and one fence paling over here on the side. So I didn't have that much to do, and I was quite able to colour complete. Which are the two colours that are different? So these like rose hip kind of flower things, they like in the border, I did them one shade darker. So whatever colour was the darker of the two pinks, so like that, there are two pinks in this. There's you can see in those flowers and the petals, those are the two called for. So these flowers here were supposed to be the darker and then that lighter colour, and I went one shade darker for these and then used what was the darker colour in the three little crosses. So I added those in, and then that same darker pink is in these flowers, these ones here. I think there are 3 of them. Oh, there's one down there. So those ones I did in the same colour as well. So that was just to give it just a little bit of extra. Just felt it just amped it up a little bit. Otherwise it felt, and possibly because my linen has this sort of pinky mauve tinge to it, so maybe it just helped amp that up a little bit on this fabric. And also I pulled just a cream or peachy cream from my stash, because these flowers, that one and that one, on the chart they weren't filled in, so they had the dark pink but then just with the fabric, and again my fabric wasn't cream, so it didn't work. So I just pulled a peachy cream, I can't remember what colour, I grabbed one of my 4 boxes and went, oh, that colour will do. That's how I picked it, and I filled in those 2. So those are the 2 changes that I made, other than some other changes, like in the border, the dark colour in the border, this inner border is the wrong brown. It was meant to be 3021, but never mind, who cares? So yay, finished. Really, really happy with that. It was a PDF chart, so I can't pass it on, but I do. That border's just lovely. If you don't like stitching flowers or borders, that's not the chart for you. And then my moustache. Okay, this and then I picked up my birthday start, which I had not stitched on since my birthday week, and that was the week of the 18th of January. Was Plum Street's Real Comfort. So this was my 2025 birthday start. Stitching this as a very casual stitch along with Lizzie the Stitcher. I'm stitching mine on the called for linen, 36 count Saltbush linen from Fox and Rabbit, and I'm using the Vicky Clayton hand dyed fibre silk pack conversion. And as previously reported, I love stitching with the silk. It is wonderful. Here is where we're at. I've got it folded over. So what did I stitch on this time? Other than I filled in a little bit of leaf in this one flower here just to bring it up to, essentially I've got this printed out on a big, like I've got the chart copied and taped together. So as soon as I get to here completed, I can cut that off to make the bit of paper less to wrangle. And then I filled in all of the, basically the lawn. So that this side of the lawn is 100% done, including all the back stitch on the leaves, or the long stitches on the leaves. And then I got obviously all the leaves in here, but I have still to do all of the lawn fill-in and then the back stitching. And then this whole section of the chart is complete. So yeah, completing as I go, doing the back stitching as I go. And once I've got that done, I'm just having a look, 1, 2, 3. It's probably close to a quarter done when you think about the number of stitches, because essentially this whole lawn is, you know, that's solid, as is the next kind of quarter. You know, that's all kind of filled in, and then of course you're a bit more bitsy with so when you think about from the amount of stitching, I'm probably a quarter done. So once I get that other half of the lawn filled in, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, next time I pick this up, fill in that lawn, and then do the next bits of border up, and then I'll fill in there and just keep working up. That way I'm not just doing all of the border at once. I love it. So really, really happy with how that is stitching up, and I will, yeah, just put it away probably for a little bit and then pick it up again. Now we enter the part of the video that I'm doing that is my, I don't want to call it cupboard of shame, but my past, like my past finishes. And I've been doing kind of some samplers over the last few weeks. I didn't have it in me today to go and pull out my, last week I showed you the samplers projects finishes that were done with 2 colours, and I was probably looking at doing the 3 colour ones, but I didn't feel like it today. I didn't feel like going through and finding all the information and then ironing another 10 things. So I thought, well, I'll just pull out of the cupboard. Those of you who've been around since the very early days, or my friends who have visited me, have seen these, but I thought I'd just pull out my Mirabilia finishes. So I have 8. I've actually done 9. I'll insert, if I remember, a picture of the 9th one. So I'm not counting the Nora Corbetts because they're 100% a different killer fish. They're, you know, way smaller. And in the last few years I've stitched a few Nora Corbetts. Haven't stitched on a Mirabilia for ages. Mostly they are big and expensive, and I have 8 in the cupboard, not framed, and that's enough. I'll never say never, but I'd have to absolutely, like, unicorn, fall in love, FOMO, can't live without it if I was to stitch another mirror. But I do love stitching on Mirabilias, but it's just, yeah, it represents a time in my life when that was sort of all I stitched largely. So when did I stitch on my Mirabilia? So probably late 90s through to around 2010. On average, probably stitch one a year through that time. This is back in the days when I stitched monogamously. I was on really crap wages, so very low income, or pretty low income. So for me, you know, sourcing, kitting up, you know, and half of this was early internet, right? So there was the internet. I did order things, but it was, you know, it was just, you know, it was very different times. But I would save up my money, and I would, you know, slowly kit up the mirror, especially some of them with really heavy beads, on quite a low income. So quite special projects. And then I would, you know, stitch on one, then put it away, have a break, save up for another one. I might have stitched on other little things, magazines or other kits and stuff, other projects in the meantime, but on average I kind of stitched on one mirror a year for around sort of, you know, around a kind of a 13-year period. There were a couple of years I took off, but I still had a couple in my stash, and I just had to get reinvigorated. So they're in kind of not necessarily in the order that I stitched. I have them in my wardrobe. They're on the kind of back, hanging on with acid-free tissue paper. One day I'll get them framed, probably. And yeah, they're in no particular order, but I've got 3 mermaids. So I know this was one of the first ones that I stitched, and this is going to get really messy. They're really hard to, because they're quite big. I don't have any of the information other than in all of them I use the called for materials. I use all the called for threads and bling. They are all stitched on 32 count linen. In some cases they will be on the called for, but those of you who are familiar with the older Mirabilias, she often provided a Whitshilt and a Zweigart option. In some cases it will be the Zweigart, in some cases it will be the Whitshilt. And basically I'm looking at Zweigart, the ones that have the orange thread. So some of them are out of print. I'm probably going to move the camera back a little bit. Apologies if you don't like traveling. Oops, I nearly dropped it. Okay, so first up we've got Mermaid of the Pearls. Definitely one of the more expensive mirrors because of her bling bling. And she's definitely on one of the called for fabrics, the Zweigart fabric. And there she is. So I loved stitching on her. I loved all of these actually. And it's the joy of the bling bling. And I know as a completist, I really struggled because she's so many Mirabilia. So I decided when it came to the mermaids, and I had other charts that I then sold way back in the 2010, because I decided 3 was enough and I had to absolutely love it, and the others I didn't love as much. So I stitched on the ones that I absolutely loved. So here's her face. All of them I did. All the skin is over 2. I didn't do any of that fancy over 1 malarkey. She's beautiful. And yeah, so this was definitely the first mermaid that I stitched. I remember that. So Mermaid of the Pearls. This is, if I remember rightly, Waiting for Ships. I think this was the 3rd one I stitched. I'm pretty sure I stitched Deepest Love next, but that's the 3rd one. Anyway, again, I'm pretty sure this is not the called for fabric. I think this is one where I just had to pick from what was available, but I like how it turned out. And yeah, she's very lovely. I thought long and hard about changing her hair, and then I ended up just stitching it called for because it seemed too hard. So that's Waiting for Ships. And then we've got Deepest Love, and she's the smaller and I'd say the cheaper, because she doesn't have a lot of beads. So she's a budget one. She has a couple of crystals, but yeah, and again, can't remember the fabric, whether this definitely is Zweigart fabric, so I have no idea if it was called for or not. And she's very pretty, and I love the skin shading on her. She's like got some real depth to her colouring. It's really nice. And then I've got 3 fairies. First up, we've got Adi the Garden Fairy. I know she was the earliest of the 3. And she's a bling bling because she's got all those beautiful crystals hanging down from her, these crystal leaves and little crystal drops and stuff. So I absolutely love her. She's not a huge in size, but she's definitely very embellished, and she has all sorts of krennic in her wings, and yeah, she had a lot of treasures. So she was pricey. As you say, I wasn't on a great income and I was saving up really hard so that I could stitch these, because it was quite a lot to cut up. And I love her. I've got these exactly in the order I stitched these, not in the grand order, but I've got like first, the third, and then the second. I know I did Titanium next, but I think I did Titanium next. But I've got A Midsummer Night's Fairy, and one of my favourite Shakespeare plays is A Midsummer Night's Dream. So the next 2 are very Shakespeare adjacent, sort of. And I actually thought about stitching Shakespeare's fairies, that mirror one, but then it would take me to 4. I know it's a long one, just because of the name, I wanted to stitch it, but I decided I only need 3. I don't need to stitch all the Shakespeare things, but here is A Midsummer Night's Fairy, and I love her. Again, as mirrors go, not the hugest. She has quite a lot of bling and sparkle. Again, all stitched over 2. You don't need to do over 1 for the faces and stuff. They're fine. If you want to put yourself through that torture, good on you. I love her little bits of pink in the wings, and just so pretty. So what's this on? This is on, what was that one on? I don't know if that was on. Oh, no, they're all on. These are both on Zweigart. So far, all on Zweigart. Wherever I ordered the fabric from, in most cases from what was it called? The Needlecraft, or in Palmerston North. They used to have a magazine, a newspaper that came out, and I ordered from that. I don't remember. It was years ago. And then later on, when I moved to Wellington, I cutted some of these up just online, or bought fabric from Nancy's, when Nancy's used to sell stuff when they were around. And then, last but not least, this is definitely called for based on, I printed off the little, because I sold the charts or gave them away, I printed these off the interweb, so got the information about each of the designs, just so I have it. And this is a companion to A Midsummer Night's Fairy. And she is, as bling goes, not the blingiest, but very pretty. So this is Titania, Queen of the Fairies. And this is definitely the called for Zweigart fabric. Really pretty. I love the shading around the wings. They look fluted and fruffly, and I wouldn't think you'd put that kind of blue pink with that coral, but salmony pink, but it's really lovely. So that is my 3 fairies. The next 2 are ridiculous because they're huge. And I don't know that I'd ever get them framed, but I love them a lot. And I don't know, I just have them. And they hang in my cupboard, and I look at them every now and then, and they're so pretty. So first up, we've got Angel Proclamation. And this one is not the called for fabric. Everything else is as charted. I mean, the ribbon, maybe not. It was probably just a silk ribbon. That wasn't necessarily the called for ribbon. I just bought some silk ribbon and stuff. But everything else is as called for. I've got does this one have the fluffy stuff? Yeah. This has the whisper in the wings, and it has, it's hard for me, I can't see. So I don't even know, are you on the screen? You are. So I went on this lovely buttery linen rather than stitching on white. The model picture is on white. It has the water lilies, like in the name, the angels dwell here. It has everything, and it's absolutely beautiful, and I love it so much. I don't even know if I'd ever get it framed, because it's not the sort of thing I'd even put up in my house. I sold most of the things that I stitched that I didn't, you know, I stitched stuff over the years, then I sold them, usually for just the material cost. I love this too much though. I mean, I'd sell it for like $500. That's it probably costs me about 150 bucks in materials. But like if someone offered me a ridiculous amount of money, yeah, everything has a price, right? But I just love it so much. So the clusters of the cream and gold beads, and I don't know, they're so pretty. I love these little cherubs. So there's that one there. And then remember, I don't do Christmas, except when I do Christmas. So then I had to get the companion piece. And this is Crystal Christmas. And this is very non-traditional, but absolutely beautiful. And similarly, why would I even put this up? Oh, it's not my colours, but I love it. It's got this great big ass bloody crystal star that before I framed this, I would have to somehow probably use some material glue to get that in place, because it's a huge crystal, and it has these garlands of strings of beads. It has whisper, not in the wings, they have whisper in their kind of the frilly ermine sort of edges of their dresses. And if you know the other one, their faces etc are exactly the same. The figures are in the same poses, but they're mirrored. So this girl who's face on with this garland here, on the other one she's that side. And the little dude kicking his foot up, he's kicking his foot up on the other side, and yeah, so they're, but I'm stitching that that tree, it's got freaking this wispy green stuff in it. It was quite horrendous to stitch with actually, but again the gold and cream beads are so beautiful. So again, I don't normally keep things just because, but I love these so much, and they sit in my wardrobe, they hang in my wardrobe with this free tissue paper, not toilet paper, and I don't know, again, offer me $1,000, you can have them. But I don't even know. I say that as a joke. Would I actually sell them? I don't know. I just don't think I'll ever get them framed. They cost a lot to frame, and they're not the sort of thing I'm likely to hang up in my house. They are totally, I'm a dragon sitting on treasure. That is how I feel about them, and I don't care. So that is those ones. And then I stitched one other Mirabilia back in, whoops, stuff fell down. I think I was still living in Whakatane, so it would be, I moved to Wellington in 1999, so I would have stitched it like 1997, 1998, and it was not called Sleeping Beauty. What was it called? Sleeping Princess? I can't remember. It's out of print, this one. Terrible picture, but it's a this is from one of my aunts, and she really liked it, and I said I would be happy to sell it to her just for the cost of the materials. It's quite heavily beaded because I stitched it and I enjoyed stitching it, but I'm like, I don't think I'm ever going to put this on my wall. And so she bought it for like $80 or something. I think I sold it to her, and she got it framed, and it still hangs above her bed. And so she bought that from me in the 90s, late 90s, and when I visited her a couple of years ago, I asked if I could take the picture of it to have for my memories or what have you. So that would be 3, 6, oh, that would be number 9. So Mirabilia number 9. I think that's all of them that I've stitched. Yeah, so those are the mirrors that I have stitched. Again, haven't stitched one since about 2010-ish, which would be when, yeah, when that last, it would have been probably one of the mermaids was probably the last one that I stitched. Like the Waiting for Ships is probably the last one I stitched. And they're so pretty. And there are so many Mirabilias, there's no way you could stitch them all, but just thought it'd be quite nice to take you down that memory lane. Next week, all going well, I'll be motivated to pull out my some of them on my more recent finishes, but it was kind of nice to go back, blast from the past and stuff, and show you those out of the cupboard. It's quite a lot in there. That's it. I'll wrap it up. A little bit to cut out, not too much, and I will see you all next week probably. I hope everyone's doing okay. I have put through an order of some stuff from 123 Stitch. Nothing terribly exciting, but I'm sure that'll arrive in a few weeks and I'll be able to show you that. And yeah, as always, don't let your needles rust. Ciao.